Hey, how are you guys? This is Harrison Marin, the Millennial Entrepreneur. Now, in this video, we are going to be covering a secret that no other marketer wants you to know about. Now, they're not talking about it on content marketing channels. Even guys like Neil Patel aren't mentioning it because this is the secret sauce that they don't want you to know. This is what they use. They hide behind a curtain, so you'll pay hundreds, if not thousands of dollars to learn from them. It's a pretty impressive tool that they just kind of don't even mention. How do you even know about this, or how did I figure this out? It took a long time to realize, but over time, I've realized the exact same thing over and over again. They all say and repeat the exact same words. Make good content, do your keyword research, go in and optimize the article, put low resolution images in so it loads fast. But none of them mention these tools. Now, there are several tools like this, and one of the most common ones is called SEO Surfer. In this case, we're going to be using a tool called Phrase, and we are going to be going through exactly the process that you need to follow to have your articles rank. Now, I've already started doing this, and the results have been incredible. Kind of shocking because I didn't think that it would work as well as it did. But now that I've already started going through and optimizing articles, the results are pretty darn impressive. So I want to share with you guys the process that you can go through after you create an article. Now, you can also use these tools for creating articles as well. However, I'm in this case going to be optimizing an article, and I want to show you guys exactly what Google looks for in order to rank your article's #1 spot. So we're going to jump into my computer, and I'm going to show you guys the exact process that these experts are talking about and how you can go and implement them. So we're going to jump in here, and believe it or not, we're just going to start with the most recent article that I've published. Now, I talk a lot about podcasting. My podcast is in the top 3% in the world, and we do have an article called Are Podcasts Free? Now, most people, places, companies would never share what articles they're optimizing because they don't want competition. I ask that if you're going to write articles, please don't write articles in competition with mine. But here we have Our Podcast Free. Now, I wrote this article. Overall, it was a combination of me and a writer. I needed some ideas and some help with this. But overall, it's a great article. There are some affiliate links in here. There is some good content in here. But the problem is I started optimizing it. The tool that we're going to be using is called Phrase. And in this tool, you can begin to see, hey, this is just one of those optimizing tools, but I never realized how important it is to optimize your content. So feel free to go log in or start a free trial. They are a fantastic product, but I've already preloaded my article in here. Now, I've already started doing some work on this, and then that's what sparked the idea for this video. But you'll see here that you have my full article, Our Podcast Free, The Hidden Costs of Podcasting. This is the entire article. I don't need my February, the date that I published it in here, and as you can see, it's pretty frequent. But you'll see in here, this is the whole article. There are links, it's well written, I'm not mad about it, but in the tool, you're actually going to be able to see a bunch of good information. So you have your word count up in the top right, what you're at, the average on your search term. So my search term is Our Podcasts Free. Now you have the amount of headers that you have, the average, the amount of links that you have, the average, and the amount of images you have, and the average. So I don't have any images. This is a dead giveaway that I need to add some images. And as you go through, you can help build an outline. You can have your brief if you want to build a brief. There is an automate brief. I don't particularly love it, but for some people, if you're in a pinch, it's not a bad idea. Then you have your optimize. This is probably the most important thing. We're going to cover that in a minute. You have questions, you have Wikipedia, and then there is also an AI writer. So if you get hung up, it does help you quite a bit. And I have used it. The results are actually pretty good. They're not perfect, but if you're struggling with something, it might just give you that extra kick that you need to then answer these questions. The reason why it has optimized brief, outline, and SERP is in SERP, it's actually going to show you what other articles are showing for those keywords. Now, this is really important because #1, goodhousekeeping.com is the #1 result on Google. You have your other headings in here, and you may need to find other headings. Maybe your article's not long enough. Maybe you want to cover a couple different topics inside of your article. This is where you can just see what other people are adding, right? Apple's only #6 on Google. Pretty wild considering Apple and how big of a brand they are. But overall, it's just going to give you a great little breakdown of what all the headers are in competing articles and what the average is of all of them, which is 1,100 words. Typically, if you're trying to rank #1, I always tell people to go at least 200 to 300 words more, if not further. I try to stick with at least 500 words more. It's going to just give me more content that I can use for Google and more data in there that's going to provide an overall better reading experience for that person. In here, you could also build your outline. For the sake of this, we're not going to build an outline because this isn't a brand new article, although I would recommend hitting that like button and subscribing because I will be making a brand new how to use this from top to bottom and write your article in one shot. Then we have brief in here. Feel free to play around with it. You can craft your outline, automate the brief, or use a template, and then optimize. This is hands down the most important area. Now, other competing products such as SEO Surfer focus a lot on this, and what it's telling you is your percentage up here that it's optimized, what the overall average is of all the competitors. So as long as you're typically past that golden line, you're gonna be good. Now this line varies tremendously article to article and what keywords you're going after. I've written for keywords that are 2,500 words is the average, and this line is somewhere around the 80 percentile. So it's a lot to work on. But as long as you're getting typically further than that line, you should have a good shot at going for the #1 spot. The other kind of pro tip that nobody's talking about is try to go for 100%. I try to. It's really hard though. There are some words in here, and what the program does is try to count the commonalities amongst all of the articles and what words are common through them and how many times they appear on average. So Google Podcasts actually shows up 6 times, and currently I only have it twice in my article. So it's glowing gold or orange. But if I've already maxed out or I've hit the number that they want, it goes green, which is great. So it's just highlighting, hey, where you could probably improve on, and it's giving me a ton of other keywords that I need to make sure I incorporate throughout the article. Now, you can't do what's called keyword stuffing, where you take all of those keywords and you drop them down at the bottom of the article. That would be awful. Google would realize that it doesn't make sense. It would provide for a horrible user experience, and ultimately it's going to hurt your content. But as time goes on, in here, like I've said, I've already plugged in this article. I'm going to go through and I'm going to start to figure out where I can add more content. And you'll start to see as this article goes through that I've already started adding a couple paragraphs in here, right? You can see how much does it cost to start a podcast. There's only 2 paragraphs on my published article, and now I'm working on adding a third and then some in these areas. Also, if you go down towards the bottom, you have the variable costs, and where I started writing was after the variable costs, just to beef it up and add more content, right? Is it possible to start a podcast on a budget? How to know your show is doing good when you start? This is all content that I actually have a lot of knowledge on, but I never really wrote about. Now that I have the article, I can see how it's performing. I can see the average word count. I can see all of the key identifiers and key performance indicators to see how my article is going to perform. Once I can take that and analyze it and optimize that article compared to the other people's articles out there, I then give myself the best possible chance at ranking on Google. Now, going through and adding more to the article takes a lot of time and would be far too long for this video, but overall, this is what the experts are looking at. They're using SEO Surfer or they're using Phrase, and they're going through and figuring out what words their articles are missing to either rank #1 on Google or stay ranked on Google. And they're constantly analyzing their competition to stay ahead of everyone else. So if you're writing articles and you're not ranking where you want to rank, it's probably recommended to get SEO Surfer or Phrase because it's going to give you the competitive advantage. Like I said, the pros out there, they're not mentioning any of this content. They're not mentioning the tools that they use. They're not mentioning that you have to have the exact amount of keywords. They'll mention you have to do keyword research, which is very true, but they're not telling you, hey, this is how you go get questions. This is what people are asking on Quora. This is what people are asking on Reddit. These are the other topics and other articles that are showing up in the search results. This is what is separating the goods from the greats. And by implementing this, I've already started to see a massive change in the articles that I do optimize. It's not a fast process. It typically takes me 2 to 3 hours to optimize an article after I write it. Keep in mind, I'm also not that good at English, but it's a slow, tedious process, but the results are insane. I cannot even begin to explain how fast the movement on the articles are after they've been edited and ran through this. They used to do okay, and now they're doing fantastic. And if you follow this same process for a brand new article, that article is going to rank so much faster than anything else on the internet. So I hope you guys found this valuable. Hit that like button if you did. Hit that subscribe button. I really appreciate it. Stay tuned because I'm going to be giving a full-blown tutorial on how to use Phrase in the near future. But if you're not hitting those key metrics, or you're not ranking #1 and you're frustrated, upset, and just bummed out that you're not there, I can almost guarantee you it's because you're not using these tools. I'll see you guys later. Bye.